Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News. Yeah, Ellie's in a t-shirt tonight. I'm going to have a down night. I'm comfy. I hadn't felt good today and yesterday. So bear with me and William, or I'll just throw it over on William and make William do the whole show. Right, William? Oh, we got William on the phone and Spam Risk on the phone. My phone beeped. I get these spam risks, so I answer investigator news and they automatically hang up. A word of advice: if you answer the phone as a business, they have to take you off their roll. Did you know that, William? They can't call businesses. It's against the federal law.
Everybody off the rolls if they request it.
So, yeah, so try it, because usually when I do that, the different ones, they end up. Well, what I get is they call and prank phone call me. They call and then they let me answer it and then they hang up. Or if I don't answer it, they just let it ring once or twice and hang up. So we got news and world news and World War III news tonight. So it's going to be a big night of news. And thanks for watching on Monday night. We had a lot of views. So to start off with, William said, as we speak, we have tornado warnings in Oklahoma, maybe even a lot of tornado watches. I think we even got one already. And oh no, I had it right the first time. So this is the area that is of concern. And it's not a hurricane this time. It's tornadoes. And I'm supposed to get them tomorrow. So I'm just gonna shut off all the lights, William, put in a really good movie, lay on the couch, with my fuzzy blanket and the dogs, and just watch movies until the power goes out. So, all right. So watch it. If you're in these areas, beware, because we've got the set of fall tornadoes going across.
There's a chance for severe weather across the Central Plains through early Thursday, and eastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, and western Missouri. And all modes of severe weather are possible. The possibility of tornadoes, strong damaging winds, and large hail. This is going to start from Wichita to Des Moines late Wednesday evening. This will continue progressing east from Oklahoma City to Springfield as we get into late Wednesday night and early Thursday morning. They'll continue progressing east into Thursday from parts of Texas up into the Mississippi River Valley. And by Halloween evening, we can see the chance of rain from Houston to New Orleans up to Memphis and into Cincinnati.
So, yep, there we go. It's supposed to rain for us tomorrow for Halloween. I got a bag of candy and it was all the good stuff. And I'm like, maybe I could just turn my light out and eat the candy.
That'll get you feeling good, that's for sure.
Well, I wouldn't be able to eat very much. I've tried it. We got some about 2 weeks ago, and I was only able to eat like one of the mini Reese's peanut butter cups, and I had to quit. I mean, I waited, and then, oh boy, I had a stomach ache. But I can drink chocolate milk and eggnog. I got eggnog in there for when I get, need something. So, all right, let's get off on this news. Spain had flash floods, and they were very devastating. 72 people died in eastern Spain, and this is Barcelona. They swept away cars and turned the village streets into rivers. Sounds like what we've seen with the hurricane here. And like I said, there was 72 people that had died. Wow. Fun. Now, I'm going to put this up here. Now, you would think, oh, yeah, look what someone did for Halloween. Very funny, very funny. No, get this. This skeleton was found by archaeologists. They say it's a vampire grave, and it's got a sickle around its neck, William. But I don't see any fangs. I blew the picture up and said, I don't see no fangs. It's not a vampire. But I don't know. somebody had a sickle around their neck and they got buried that way. So, yeah, happy Halloween. Happy Halloween for that. All right. So on this day in history, folks, this is one of my favorite boxers. I guess because I grew up kind of with him. On October 30th, 1974, Muhammad Ali wins the Rumble in the Jungle. He won them, and it was against George Foreman. So, um, so,
George has been
huh?
selling burger makers ever since.
That's it. So, yeah. Does anybody buy those? I mean, I see it on Bar Rescue, and they're like, "Oh, don't do that." I'm a big Bar Rescue fan. All right. So, what else is going on? Yeah. Uh, we got the World Series. Friday, the Dodgers got it. On Saturday, the Dodgers got it. Monday, the Dodgers won. And then Tuesday, the Yankees won. So they're off to game 5 tonight. So we'll have to see who wins the World Series. All right. So Israel, folks. I guess I could throw William up here.
Oh, there I am. I'm back.
All right. I'll throw your picture up so well, we don't need you that big. Uh, all right, there we go. So, Israel, folks, and I heard this first thing this morning. Israel took out primary Iranian air defenses, and they'd say they left it naked. Um, and from what I could see from some of the hits that they've been doing, it's pretty much becoming desolate. William, didn't you say something about Lebanon today, or about
So,
Lebanon?
yeah, Israel's taken 80% of the weapons stores of Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. And they captured the commander in southern Lebanon as well, and were able to interrogate him in the field, and then he's been brought in for, continued information. Anyway, he was able to give up enough information that they were able to find huge weapons stores. And it was to the point that some people in Israel say, well, we ought to stand up our military and use those weapons because we've captured so many. But it's just not Israel's flavor of weapons. They don't like the Chinese and Russian weapons so much.
Yeah. So when Israel took out the Iranian air defenses, um, the airstrikes destroyed the remaining 3 S-300 batteries, and they say it's the majority of Iran's air defense was taken out. Um, these were Russian-made S-300 air defense systems that Israel has reported destroyed in strikes on Iran earlier this year, one in April. And then, of course, they took out these last 3 this past weekend. So senior U.S. officials confirmed it, and I heard it with the Pentagon report. And among other key military targets, the airstrikes took out all 3 systems, they say. The strikes came after Iran fired a barrage of ballistic missiles at Israel at the beginning of the month. So it's like a retaliatory thing. That's what I think, William.
They sent in drones, and the drones weren't successful, except for one got through. They were shot down by the Iranians.
Yeah.
But their Iranian Air Force jets were pretty successful.
Yeah. Now, in swing states, officials brace for conspiracy theories of violence. Here we go again. This one, I found them on even the mainstream media, them bracing. But something disturbed me pretty much, William, last night. That what I don't know if Joe Biden was mad because he didn't get invited to the party, and this is his way of getting even. But what he said was, only garbage I see out there is his supporters They're un-American. That's
Oh,
the
Mr. Trump.
exact quote.
Yeah.
Only garbage I see out there is his supporters. They're un-American. And they tried like heck to hide that this morning. Now, this just adds to what they say about us. And it's been since,
Well, it just means that we're uncommunists. Just, just so everybody knows, they project a lot.
yeah. Well, I got to thinking, what have we said about them? What if our Republicans came forward and called them and basically corrupt? But what gets me though, William, is we had Hillary call us deplorables. They've been calling us Nazis, fascists, racist. Now they say we're garbage and we're un-American. How is that going to get the Republican vote? You try to win votes from one side to the other normally.
Pretty negative. There's not a lot of hope there for anybody.
No, I feel sorry for the Democrats right now because, they want to hear, even the Democrats. I was watching Fox News this morning where they go in a restaurant and they can't pick that it's all going to be Republican support or Fox support. There's a lot of Democrats in there. And when he asked, is the most important thing in this country um, bringing in the migrants and abortion and raising taxes? This is what the Democrats are reporting. And no one really raised up their hand. And he said, okay, now who in this room cares about the economy? And just about everybody did. And I really think that the Democrats, they don't want to, if you're my age, you don't worry about abortions. Karen, do
Well,
you? I mean, William, do you worry about abortions? And most of the voting comes from like 40 above.
so the United States didn't ban abortions. They sent the question back to the states. They gave the people in their local areas the opportunity to choose whether or not. They got it out of the Supreme Court. But nobody's banned abortions.
No, and see, that's what they think that the Republicans are going to do, and that's not what it's about.
The some states have,
Yeah,
but that's not nationwide.
right, right. Yeah. But the one thing that I thought is, did they make him so mad, Joe Biden so mad that he called us garbage to get back at him? And I don't think he's got the mindset for it. And then I heard on CNN that said, he's never spoke well. I was like, wait a minute, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, I've watched Joe Biden since the 70s, folks. And his early years up to, I don't know, I want to say Bush, when Bush was
Because
in, he took over the floor half the time speaking. He was like
yeah,
Pelosi.
he's better than Pelosi.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing also today, now this was, I look at all the polls, all of them. I don't look at the ones just the media's look at that isn't quite there. And the ones I look at are that they go on the polls of the economy and medicine, and they have a whole list of stuff. And what it looks like, I'm surprised, is Trump is at 62%. And Rader just said here in California, the Republicans are leading. And so, when we hear these conspiracy theories, though, of violence, William, everybody's saying it. I mean, I even said it early on to you that this is my concern. But, folks,
It's a conspiracy until it happens. But there's reason to be concerned, certainly.
well, yeah, but, I think the college students are getting bored with it. I don't think what are they going to burn down? They done burnt everything down in sanctuary cities. A friend of mine told me that. He said, "Why, why are you so worried? They're just going to burn stuff down, like statues and buildings." And he goes, in these sanctuary cities, in these cities of protest, they've done burnt everything down. So what are they going to do? I said, they're going to go to houses. No, I don't know. I don't know, folks. Just be careful and just stay in if it looks like your town is having protests. Just stay away from it.
If you're mindful, you'll be aware.
Yeah. And don't fearmonger on it. The other thing was real quick. I got a message from Mary last night, and she's real close to a big air base. And William, she said, I mean, her windows shake a lot because of she's so close to the flight line. But she said her whole house was rumbling last night. They're gearing up. They're gearing up. So
well, the U.S. military. I want to explain something. We train like we go to war.
Mm-hmm.
We don't train different than when we go to war. So when we're training, it sounds like we're going to war.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine, she talks about that, and I can only imagine Taiwan with how low China flies. And my friend over there that's a journalist, I mean, he tells me that the whole house shakes sometimes, as low as they fly. And it's just like 50 of them. It just shakes. And he says it's almost like there's an earthquake. So, now, Vancouver, Washington, and Portland, Oregon, they've had 475 damaged ballots from burned up drop boxes. But they're getting license plate numbers for this. And they're catching these guys. And
so it's the same guy that's been doing it in both Portland and Vancouver.
Is it?
It's the same part.
Well, I heard it was it is college student or college students that has been arrested in the past for protest.
It makes no sense because Vancouver and Portland are very liberal cities. I mean, is the person conservative?
No, it was. I heard it was a Democrat or they claimed they were a liberal on the last time.
Then they're only hurting themselves because Portland and Vancouver are very, very liberal cities.
See, that's what I was thinking too. And if these are people that's dumping a bunch in there, all he's doing is burning up his own votes. I'd like to know. I'd like to know what those ballots were, if they could see any of them. If Raider, if you're still in here, wouldn't you think that too? If it's a big liberal city and they're going to burn up the boxes where everybody drops them, you would assume. People put it down in the comments. What you guys think on that?
They had one up near Boston that was burned, but they skipped a guy up, and he's a guy that's had some serious mental problems in the past. So it doesn't seem to be a thing that's happening on a wide scope in the country, except for the few, I guess we could call them moderately unbalanced individuals that are.
Well, oh gosh, where was that? Well, I won't mention it because I can't remember where it was. I think it was
Bedford, Mass, something like that.
Well, it was somewhere back here, back east, and they had. It wasn't the cameras that they put on the box. It was the surrounding buildings. It was in a shopping center. I remember saying it, on the last election that they were catching them and getting their license plate numbers and going to their house and getting them. And they had hundreds more at their house. I mean, if you can't
move around an American city with businesses with cameras out in their parking lots and not be noticed. And here's the other thing, guys, if it's 3 a.m. in the morning, you're the only one that's out there. Just saying. It's not a great plan.
Raider said, my neighbor's kids in high school, and they're talking about doing the mailbox burning there in Sacramento.
Well, that's a federal crime.
But these are people that can't even vote. But I mean, I haven't been in
still a
California
federal
for a
crime.
while, so
These are people that are going to be damaging their future because they're going to have, a federal rap sheet for the rest of their lives. Anytime they need they go into a business that requires a security clearance of any type, whether it's administration to arms manufacturing or even in the military, that's it. Your career's over there.
yeah. And now, who was this who put this out? So you got Michigan Secretary of the State reveals nationwide issue affecting the Dominion voting machines. So if you vote straight party, it says they're having a programming issue, and it affected the machines nationwide. They said they're very unhappy to learn about this during the testing period during early voting. So they're working with the Dominion to seek accountability on that front, they said. They're working with their clerks to ensure voters are aware of this program issue so they can keep track of their selections. Now that sounds like the flipped where they're flipping the vote back to the other one, kind of like they had in 2016.
We have so many things on the ballot. We can't just vote straight. We have to go through all the different things that have been brought up on the ballot from the state legislature, allowing or disallowing, so it doesn't really apply to Washington, but I guess that applies in a lot of the country.
Yeah. So it's a Dominion ICXVAT. They either have to, like I said, they're having a problem with the straight party selection. You might, like they said, keep an eye on it because it could affect the rest of your vote. So, check it out and keep an eye on what your make sure it's in there. Make sure that vote's in there and doesn't change.
If you're watching the polling places, make sure they don't shut those machines off. Then they'll hold that code. The government can go in and figure out who did it.
Yeah, well,
keep the machine running.
Some of them we're going to go back to their deselect or their straight party selection and vote for candidates with a split ticket. And they said this made it worse. So they're going to go back to the one and see how it goes. So folks, but now I don't know if it's like that all over the United States, but here, if we want to vote on paper, they'll give you the ballot on paper here. We get a choice.
The problem is we only have a certain population in the United States. And when the vote goes over the total population of the United States, the Supreme Court has to step in.
Yeah. And they said this has made it very inconvenient, according to the state attorney. And she said what they might have to do is take out these voting machines and come up with something new before the next election, the next big presidential election.
Oh, they will for sure.
So, Ford is now saying there is a good possibility after this year that they're going to stop making the EV cars. They said there's huge losses. They have lost in between $1.2 billion and now I heard 4.7 on all of its EV sales. That's from 2022 through this year. And they said that they cannot afford to take this big of a loss with their company. So they have now told the federal government and the transportation that they're no longer going to make them after this next year. They just can't do it.
So Fiat sold Chrysler or Dodge because they were having the same problem. And now Cerberus, who was very left-leaning, is now having the problem. They don't know what to do now. But Cerberus is out of, I think, France. They've got Peugeot and other cars in Europe, but they're having the same problem, and I've heard the same rumblings out of GM. So.
Well, I think a lot of them are because the few that have been recalled, because I do recalled on my other show, and we've had them because of fire. They make right turns on their own. They're catching fire on the streets. They're burning down houses. And not only that, but people can't afford the electric. And even Ford said they're losing close to $1 million in having to keep these cars charged up for test drives. And it's hurting them at the bank, hurting them on them making money. And I don't see what's wrong with anybody making money.
Let's say you went to buy one. Who's going to buy a vehicle they have to wait until the next day to pick it up?
That's right. So they keep them charged. And now they're having to soak up the cost of these EV cars.
Yeah.
So this one here, I mentioned this to William earlier, and I thought this was really weird because we know China and North Korea have been sending balloons in the sky over the top of the United States, and even South America they've done, and I think they've done Europe. Well, now they've unveiled they got secret underwater spy network, and they said they have a hidden network of foreign surveillance devices. And what it was is we found them lurking beneath its territorial waters. It's basically China says it has found spying. China says it's found spying devices underwater, perhaps shedding light on a web of what's going on with our submarines. And they said, and they can go deep into water, and what it basically is saying, they could even go into out of national waters into another country's waters because it's so deep that they don't consider the deep part of the boundaries. That's what I thought was interesting. I meant to mention that to you earlier, William, is I didn't know that. I thought international waters was from the surface to wherever the ground was. Come to find out, it's only so deep.
It's 12 miles out from the coast is your national waters. Then it's your national economic zone, EEZ, out to 200 miles.
Yeah, but see, we never talk about deep, the depth of how far we go down to considered international waters. And see, that's what China's acting on is, there's no limit, or there's no set amount, or there is, so they can go as deep as they want to get into underneath a submarine that's just on the edge.
So all superpowers have sonobuoys and items in the ocean that are acoustic, that listen for anything that goes on, and you can hear, halfway across the Pacific, a humpback whale making its sound, right?
Yeah.
And we have magnetometers. So Russia's been doing it. We've been doing it forever. And China's now got into the mix. This isn't really surprising. In fact, we can use those sonobuoys and detectors against them. So we can like fake attacks, and it sounds like an entire Navy's coming at them, and force them to stand up, and there'll be nothing there. So it's a double-edged sword. It's like everything else.
Yeah. And China's national security among the discoveries were underwater lighthouses described by the ministry that could potentially guide foreign submarines through Chinese waters also. So it has been going both ways. And they said, so now the submarines are doing capabilities of going deeper and deeper. And what they're finding is not only China, but they said the United States, the UK, have also been doing things farther down. So, like I just said, they can even, there's lighthouses down there that they can even go into Chinese waters to spy on the same thing.
Yeah,
That sounds
well,
like a mess or a fight
that's
fixing to
what
happen.
China's upset is because they don't really have deep waters in the South China Sea. And it makes
No,
it really difficult to evade detection. That's why we've talked about deep water insertion in the past out of Taiwan.
yeah.
This is what it's head the whole thing was about and headed towards.
So now it's underwater wars. I was waiting for that to happen, William. And I eventually somebody's going to go over somebody else's border, like China or the United States and some or Russia, and we're going to get mad, or somebody's going to get mad.
If we detect a sub that's not ours within the 12-mile limit, we have the right to drop depth charges.
Yeah.
Every country has the right to drop depth charges 12 miles out. So it's a game of death. Don't play it.
No. And if there, I, I am now that this has been exposed, and China's the one that exposed this, and they're the one complaining. So obviously they've had another country's submarines that went across into their lines. I mean, they can do it, but when someone does it to them, it's a different story, folks.
Well, they don't know if it's us. They don't know if it's from the West. They don't know if it's from North Korea. They don't know if it's, Vietnam.
You know,
It's hard to know what it is when they come in deep and don't show, don't surface. So
that's it. And I think this is going to really start boundaries in our oceans. And see, like I said, I always thought it went from the top all the way to the floor bottom, and then that was all our territory. Well, I guess not. And it didn't say in the article of what depth anybody goes, because I think that's probably a secret, top secret stuff that they don't want people to know, other countries to know. But they go down to the bottom, like China's talking about.
if it's in your territory, you can really use it against the enemy if you know, right?
Yeah.
It's just a double-edged sword. So
yeah,
all superpowers have to play this game. If one superpower plays it, they all have to play it.
Yeah. And U.S. hits camps. It was multiple camps in Syria, killing nearly 3 dozen terrorists. Senior ISIS leaders were taken out of the latest U.S. strike in Syria. So they're not only are they going after Hamas leaders and Hezbollah leaders, but they're going after even ISIS leaders, because ISIS has moved in to help with the cause for Hamas and Hezbollah. And William, did you see that they're wanting to talk about peace talks again? And Netanyahu said there's a good possibility there might be one. Now, Trump says he wants one before if he gets in office, he wants them to go into a peace deal by January.
Well, Israel believes they've met their goals in southern Lebanon. They've reduced their power, their stocks of weapons. If they don't go into peace talks, then Israel will leave troops in southern Lebanon. If they go to peace talks, Israel's willing to pull out. So there could be something go on with respect to Lebanon. Now, Gaza is a little more intractable. They've still got a lot of fight in them.
Yes. And the people are something. I'm not going to say all the people, all the Palestinians, because there's a lot of Palestinians they hold there that they won't let go of. They won't let them leave. And there's some Palestinians folks that are just, they're on the side of to take Gaza back, and they don't like Israel. They just hate Israel. It's not about, some of this is, they just hate Jewish people.
They will suck the entire world into fighting for them and wipe out the world in this blood feud.
Just because they hate. Yeah. And
just like Ukraine and Russia. It's a blood feud. And once you go into war, people get bloodlust. And they can't detach. They psychologically cannot detach from war.
Mm-mm. Well, I think there's a hatred, though, deep hatred, kind of like what we see with our Democrats. Some of them would, kind of, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and vote for Trump. But there are people that just absolutely despise and hate Donald Trump. They refuse. And then we got those diehard Democrats that they'll just vote Democrat just to vote Democrat on down the line. And it's, and then we've got over there in the Middle East, we just have those that just hate the Jews. There's just a deep hatred. And no one's ever going to be able to create a peace. There'll always be another terrorist group that will hate them.
Well, there'll be times of relative peacefulness and then decline back into warfare. And it'll bounce back and forth over time because they'll wear themselves out. But this has been going on for 3,000 years. It's not going anywhere.
No. And more and more over just this last, I'm going to say last week, the middle of last week, I started seeing that Israel is hitting more and more Iranian targets. Now, and that kind of worries me. It's like, oh, yeah, you don't, they can get Iran so built up that they might strike Israel. They might strike in where they shouldn't be. Just because Israel.
Iran's the second most intractable country in Arabia, and after Gaza Palestinians. So they like to fight.
I was when I listened to the guy at the Pentagon, and I should write his name down. He was talking that if Israel isn't pushing and doing these missiles at Iran, then Iran's kind of doing it at Israeli defenses through these terrorists. And it's like they're pushing closer and closer to war. And he said they have to watch, every day when they have these skirmishes, even like the last one with the terrorists, because how far will be too far where Iran just goes all out war with Israel?
Well, they try to fight proxy wars, but eventually proxy wars break down into all-out regional wars. So.
And so what I see is that where we had that, we struck their air defenses. And I think that's what we're trying to do is cut out as much of their air defenses, their land defenses, water, everything that we can do to keep Iran to go into that point where they get a new leader that's going to take that step and say, we're going to go to war. Because we just don't know. We're killing their leaders. Not Iran, but we're killing some of these other leaders. And it's only going to be to a certain point, I think, William, that they're going to go too far.
In every country, you have two sides. You have A side, B side. You don't have to take a country out. All you have to do is destabilize it, and side B will take over side A, and they'll have a new government. So this is all a cat and mouse game.
Yeah. And the same way with Ukraine and Putin and then over there in Taiwan and China. But what got me was the UN head guy at the UN went to the BRICS meeting.
Well, whose side are they on?
Yeah.
They've had to deal with the United States as a superpower now for 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. everybody's angry with us because we've been kind of on the top of the dog pile. And if you're the underdog all that time, you're going to see this as an opportunity. But keep in mind, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe he just went to find out what they were saying. But no, I think there might be something there. And then right underneath that article, William, I saw something. I didn't grab it because it's just too, I don't know. I'm, I'm trying to stay out of the politics part, but it was too good of an article. Um, Maybe not to, I should mention it. Is Walls, the VP for Camilla Harris, has now been caught by the State Department and Department of Defense with ties to the CCP. And I was like, oh, really? So does Pelosi. So does the Clintons. So does Camilla Harris. So does the Biden. So does they all do. Why? To me, it wasn't.
Yeah, but Tim had a security clearance when he was doing it.
Yeah. Well, but it's.
And was a master sergeant, so that kind of changes things just
But
a little.
now, when Trump went in office last time, they made him sell all of his businesses over there in China, in Russia. Told him no, because he'll have ties with CCP. So, but it's okay for them to do this. And I don't want to nitpick back and forth with the Democrats.
It's not a bad
but
idea to disengage with a possible enemy. If
yeah,
you're a
like
president.
Biden, Biden should have pulled out of the military, the plant that makes the military equipment. They should have pulled away from that when he was vice president and said, no,
Yeah.
I can find something else to do or buy.
And, it's not about what you get caught with. It's about perception, right? It's if you're going to be a politician, you need to be above being seen as anti-American, right? If you want to be an American politician.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad thing to disengage from anybody that could possibly be hostile to the United States or is currently hostile. That changes day by day, by the way, because the world's full of frenemies, and we have to move that map around.
Now, I don't know if anybody else got this on their ballot, but this was like totally supported by Sarah Huckabee. Here is we're going to force the Chinese farmers to sell. If they are if they're not here as a
if they won't let us purchase land in their country, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have trade, that's reciprocity. That means they buy stuff here, we buy stuff there.
Yeah.
But if we can't buy stuff there, they shouldn't be allowed to buy stuff here.
And she wants to move them out. Sarah Huckabee wants to get them off our farms. And see, that's something that the Clintons started back in the 80s when they were governor here, or Senate and governor. And they were bringing them all in and letting them buy all the farms they wanted. And you would not believe how many farms we got owned by Chinese here.
Originally, we were trying to pull the Chinese away from the Soviet Union when all this started happening. But its reason for being is long since passed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's another thing's going on. It's only because I have a girl that reports stuff out of Tijuana, but she told me that the UN is urging protection on journalists because they're having so many of them being shot in Mexico now along the borders. They said there's been half a dozen at this point that have been shot, and it's in towns around the border. A lot of them down by Tijuana, and then again over there out of Texas. And So the UN says human rights uh, office in Mexico, they need more protection. They need to start sending their military around with them. The only problem is the Mexican president said they don't have the coverage. They don't have the police to be able to do it. They could be sending these journalists in with what they think is a group of police officers, but these officers are, they're police officers, but they're part of the cartel and could lead them right into an ambush and kill them off and take their stuff.
Well, they're killing mayors right now as well. It's when Trump came into office, this our southern border was one of the most violent places on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Now look at it.
Then it settled down, right? When we had a powerful government here in the United States. Now it's picked back up again.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is, yeah.
So, do you have anything, William? Because I went through all mine. I said I wasn't feeling good today, folks.
So Redacted has reported that there's been an assassination plot that's been foiled by
the
Secret Service for Pennsylvania here today. So they didn't give us any proof, but they said it was the case, and they have a person in custody. So that's that.
Well, William, with and we talked about earlier with the cameras, with the boxes. So many people now have ring cams, car cams, rear view mirror cams, house cams.
Dog cam. Don't forget the dog cams.
Yeah, and or carrying around their phones. That it's really hard, I think, for criminals to even. And I complained about this happening in China. Well, there's cameras everywhere, and they're just going after people. Well, with the crime rate so high, folks, in the United States, maybe it's a good thing that everybody's going to the cameras. But at least it's not the feds doing it. That was my big thing is the feds they are putting them on almost every lamppost, but it's the people that got them on their houses and in their cars, and they're actually catching people. And the police what they do is they get the
private property or police. There's body cams. That's a good reason for it. Otherwise, not so much.
Yeah, well, the good thing about it is when someone's committing these crimes, they get the license plate number on film, and the police just take their time and they plan it out and they go to their house.
Yeah,
I love it. I didn't do nothing. I love these cop videos, William, I swear. And I almost could say exactly what they're going to do. They cry for mama, and I didn't do it. You didn't see me do that. No, I wasn't in that car. Oh boy. Yeah. I love that stuff. Yeah. And Sarah Huckabee here, she is loading, they call it, our cops are saying we're the home of the pit maneuver now, because we're sending cops out to show other states how to do it. But when she got in, she hired so many police officers, and she loaded up for the cars, and she just put a lot of our state's money into the police department here. And you could see it now. You could see it. As we go, Little Rock and North Little Rock used to be, it's scary. I don't feel so bad driving there. And we didn't have all the problems at the state fair as we've had in the past with gangs starting fights. I'm seeing a change here. Now, if we could just get, a good economy, Arkansas would be wonderful again. So
we get Seattle like that, but they're still surprised when somebody gets whacked by another drug dealer.
Yeah. Oh, we got those here.
They're hard. They wring their hands and go through the whole diet. Anyway.
Well, we've got Memphis and West Memphis, and West Memphis is on the side of Arkansas, and it's scary. I mean, I would rather go gamble down in Tunica, which is south, then go, on our way there, we just go south off into Tunica instead of going into Memphis and down. Because Memphis, they got bars all over their windows, even the houses. That's just scary. I was like, man, even the houses got bars on their windows and their doors. Um,
Yeah, you have to put yourself in your very own prison. It's not a good situation.
yeah, and you go to the grocery store and there's bars all the way across the front of the cashier counter. And sometimes they even make you just stay outside and they go get the stuff in, like your Cokes and beer or milk or whatever you want in the store. They go and get it and they, hand it to you at the window. And you don't even get to go inside at some of these places. I was just shocked. So it's like, no, I'm not going through Memphis no more. Forget you, Elvis. So, all right, William. I think that's it for today's show. And we did keep it under an hour. And of course, we'll be back. William, I'm going to let you do your own show Friday, right before trivia. And that gives me, a couple days rest. My doctor's out of town, so I'm kind of licking my wounds through the weekend. And but trivia definitely it gives me more time to get trivia together for Friday night, and everybody loves trivia. So, all right.
Well, almost everybody loves it.
Well,
Susan keeps wiping me out.
yeah, yep. So,
Well,
okay, so we'll see everyone on Friday and expect William to be by himself, and I'll be off in the corner with an empty chair, more than likely. So, have a wonderful Halloween, folks. And be sure to check the kids' candy and for candy bars and then snag them. No, check for, anything open and throw it out. I heard if you find the open ones, take them to work and give them to your coworkers, William. I seen that and I was like,
that
how?
would be kind of rude if you all of a sudden had a coworker drop off, in the middle of work.
Well, I was thinking open it up, take a bite, and put it back in there as a prank, and they take it out of the, and maybe even like glue it back shut or tape it shut or something, and they open it up and it's already got a bite out of it. Yeah, that's my kind of humor. So, okay. So, with that, you guys have a wonderful evening and subscribe and share and hit that like button and do the bell as much as possible, folks, because YouTube keeps dropping people off. And over on Facebook, just hit the follow. And if you like the lighthearted news and the fun post, if you like to see all of them, I put them on Hellions, Holes, and Poles over there on Facebook. So, all right, William, thanks for being on here today with me and helping me muddle through this. I mean, I was close to saying, "Oh, I don't know if I can do this." So,
Well, it's supposed to be World War III report on Wednesday, so yeah.
oh, we did a little bit on that.
Sure.
So, and we did a little bit of fun. The skeleton with the sickle. Yeah. Happy Halloween, folks. All right. We'll see you all on Friday and have a wonderful Halloween. Boo.